Good evening, everybody. I am Vibhu Swain from PowerTech Consultant. Today we'll start webinar number 16. Let me share my screen with you. So, webinar number 16 is basically the remaining portion of the chapter 2 electric motors in book 3, that is energy efficiency in electrical utilities. Now we have studied about motor load survey. That means going around the plant, noting down the parameters of motor, measuring power, current, voltage, power factor, looking into the motor condition, looking into the number of windings. We completed the motor survey. After that, we analyze those data. We carry out how the motor is loaded, whether it is 50% loaded or 100% loaded or 75% loaded. And from those motor survey, from those analysis, we find out what are the energy conservation measures are available in the motor. So today we'll discuss what are the energy conservation measures in motors. First option is to reduce underloading. As you know, any suboptimal motor efficiency is due to underloading. That means if the motor operates in underloaded conditions, then its efficiency will not be good. It will not be optimal. It will not operate at highest efficiency. So efficiency will be suboptimal. Therefore, to increase efficiency, we need to increase power factor. We need to operate the motor at its optimal load. What are the reason of underloading of motors? Normally what happens, the OEM, original equipment manufacturers, takes large safety factors. During design of motor, it takes large safety factor, due to which, but at actual condition, the motor loading is low because the load requirement is small. To avoid underloading, what can be done? We have to use correct capacity of the motor. Also, we can achieve incremental gain in efficiency by replacing or by changing the motor from higher size to lower size, so that for lower load requirement we can go for low size motor, low rated motor, so that loading will be proper and efficiency will be better. Normally, if the motor operates at 60 to 70% capacity or loading, then we don't change the motor, because we all know at 60 to 70% loading, the motor efficiency is optimum or highest. So whenever you are downsizing or whenever you are replacing any motor to increase the loading, it is always desirable, preferable, that we should select an energy efficient motor, because energy efficient motor has little bit of higher efficiency than the standard motor of higher capacity. Now, another option of improving motor loading is that by operating the said motor in star mode. In star mode, normally motors are delta connected. Now, in case any motor operates at 40% of its rated capacity, then it is always preferable to operate it in star mode. That means we need to, it has, a motor has three phase has 6 terminals. So for delta connection, you have to join the head to tail of respective windings, other windings. For delta star circuit, we can reconfigure the wiring, and we have to reset the overcurrent relay, and by doing this we can connect, we can make the connection of any delta motor to star mode. Now, as you know, In star mode, the voltage get reduced by root 3 because line voltage is equal to root 3 of phase voltage. Since it is a star connection, so we'll be applying the whole line voltage between two windings. So the voltage will reduce by root 3. That means, as you know, if voltage is reduced by root 3, then P is equal to V square by R. So power or rating also downsized by 1/3 in star mode. And but the performance remains same as the function of load remains unchanged. So in full load operations in star mode gives higher efficiency and higher power factor than partial load operation in delta mode. So in case a delta connected motor is operating at less than 40% of its rated capacity, its efficiency is not proper. What we can do, we can convert the wiring into star so that efficiency and power factor will improve. But remember, this is only possible where torque to speed requirement is lower at reduced load. It is not applicable to all the cases. If the torque to speed requirement is lower at reduced load, then it can be possible. Now another thing, the speed of the motor reduces in star mode. So if you are connecting or the motor is giving or servicing or giving service to the production facility whose output is related to motor speed, then in that case the star delta connection should be avoided. Further, in star mode, the motor loading should not be allowed to cross derated capacity. As you know, rated power, it cannot handle, let us say 15 kilowatt motor. So its derated value will be 1/3 of that rating. So it will be 5 kilowatt. So momentarily we can give more than 5 kilowatt load, but we should see that if you are converting a motor connection from delta to star, we should see that the desired output should not cross more than 5 kilowatt or more than 1/3 of the rated watt. So it should be within the D-rated capacity. So if the rating is 50 kilowatt, the D-rating capacity will be 50/3. Similarly, for higher initial load running torque needs, automatic star delta star converter are also available in the market which can be utilized. So there are two converters, star delta converters, star delta star converters, all are available. This is utilized for controlling the speed if the motor sizes are derated. Then sizing to variable loads. Now, normally, what a designer point of view, what we select, suppose a motor caters to a variable load, then in that case a designer choice or as engineer choice, we select a motor who is supposed to handle the highest capacity of the load. But an energy efficient professional or an energy auditor will not choose that high size motor for a variable type of load. What it will do, it will try to plot a load duration curve. By plotting the load duration curve, we can know at what time or for how many duration the motor loading will be how much. So if the for number of durations or for maximum time the loading is very nominal, then we should select the motor size for that nominal or the lesser value of load. Sometimes for few second or for few times, for few minutes or few hour of a daily operation, it touches the highest size. So there is no point for choosing those highest size of load for that particular motor. So based on load duration curve, we can optimize the motor sizing. That means it will cater to the optimal loading of the load end, and it will this choice will be less costly, more efficient, and also it will provide equally satisfactory operations. Another issue we all know that power factor corrections. Now by putting capacitor banks in parallel or shunted, we can improve the power factor. Why power factor improvement is required? because we all know induction motor power factor is less than 1. So by improving the power factor, we can reduce the kVA demand. Once we reduce the kVA demand, it will reduce the utility demand charges. Similarly, reduced I square R losses. That means the copper losses will reduce because the current has gone down. Your kVA requirement has come down. Voltage remaining same, current will go down. So reduce I square R loss in cables. So this will give rise to reduce energy charge, reduce voltage drop because the current has gone down because of capacitor bank. Therefore, the impedance into current will also go down. That means reduce voltage drop in the cable. Similarly, and this will give rise to improved voltage regulations. Also, increase in overall efficiency because of this reduction in losses, reduction in demand charges, reduction or improvement in voltage regulations will achieve a overall profitability and overall efficiency of the total electrical systems. Now, how we maintain the motors? Motor maintenance is also one of the critical parameters in any industries. All electrical engineer know for a good maintenance practices, preventive maintenance, predictive maintenance, breakdown maintenance, having good SOP standard operating procedures is very much essential for running successful running of a motor because motors are workhorse of the company or industries, so it has to be maintained in proper way. Inadequate maintenance will leads to increase in losses, unreliable operations, frequent breakdown. Now, let us say one example of maintenance is lubrications. So, if you lubrication is not proper, it will cause friction between the bearings or between the fixed and rotating parts, due to which the temperature will increase. This rise in temperature will increase the resistance of the motor windings because we all know resistance is proportional to increase in temperature. So once resistance increases, then the I square R loss increases. So with rise in temperature, with improper lubrication, the motor becomes inefficient. Now, again, if you lubricate fully or over lubrication is also problem. It always lead to excess oil or grease. What will happen, it will from the motor bearing, it will enter into motor windings, saturate the motor insulations because it will clog with motor insulations, it will saturate the motor insulations, so there will be premature failure of the insulation which may cause fire risks. So over insulations or under insulation or over lubrication or under lubrication is always a problem. We have to see that lubrication is perfectly done. Also in industries, the lubrication is done by the ITI or the field staffs or the technicians. So they also need to be properly trained how much lubricants has to be applied for which type of motor. Particularly, I can share an example for any energy audit. Lubrication study is also one of the important part. By conducting simple lubrication study in any industries, we can save a huge profit or huge energy in that industries. Where you do lot of studies, type of lubricants, type of trade names, with inventory management, teaching the technician of for proper lubrications. So those things can be learned. Now we have to also good inspection practices should be adopted, so that in the good inspection or maintenance practices, what are those? Inspect the motors for wear in bearings or housings, whether some dirt or dust is going, or is there any in the motor ventilating ducts. If dirt and dust has been deposited, we need to clean it. So if there is any wearing in the bearing and housing, that needs to be replaced. We have to check the load condition. It should not be overloaded and or underloaded. If there is an overloading or underloading, then you have to see proper sizing of motors. Then lubrication, as we discussed. Then proper alignment of the driven equipment and the motor should be checked, because any misalignment will increase the vibrations. It will lead to shaft failure or coupling failure. So it will result in damage to motor and driving equipment both, and the system will be unreliable. Plus, the wiring terminal box has to be inspected, particularly in rainy season. It has to be aluminum tapes should be provided in the terminal box so that rain moisture will not go inside the terminal blocks. Then your motor starter connection also needs to be properly clean and tight. So these are the maintenance practices of motors. Rewinding effect on energy efficiency. Normally in any industries, if the motor fails, then automatically, why motor fails? Because of higher load or because of short circuit, because of improper maintenance. So its windings get damaged. So the starter windings needs to be replaced or needs to be changed. Normally in any industries, these things are being done by local service provider or the local rewinder or by in-house technicians. So if they are not having that particular skill for rewinding of motor, if they don't adopt good practices, good standard operating procedures for rewindings of motor, what will happen? It will lead to bad rewindings. Bad rewindings, due to which what will happen? They don't might not having tools to remove the core from the motors. The winding slot design may get changed. They may choose inferior quality of winding materials, copper or aluminum, which will not have good quality, due to which resistance of the winding will be more. Insulation, they might not use good insulations, so insulation performance may not be that optimal. It may fail. Similarly, when they apply heat or try to remove the armor or core from the motor, they may damage the laminations. If the laminations or the insulations between the lamination get damaged, what will happen? It will increase the eddy current loss. Further, during alignment, they may not make the proper gap between the rotor and starter. So any change in air gap, what will happen? It will lead to higher magnetizing current, due to which if the magnetizing current becomes higher, it will lower the power factors and the output torque will be affected. So by this, normally if the rewinding is not proper, is done by unskilled labor and technician, there will be drop in efficiency. And normally it is average, we can say that for each winding, each rewinding, the efficiency get drops by 1%. So if the motor, particular motor is rewound 4 times, so there will be drop in 4% efficiency. So normally if the rewinding has been done for 4 times, we have to need to discard those motors. Normally in industries we make green, orange, yellow, red. Green, yellow, orange, red. Green is the winding has not been changed at all. uh, Yellow means winding has been changed 1 times, orange means 2 times, red means 4 times. So by naming them or by changing their color, we can, if any motor has been marked as red, it next time before rewinding it should be discarded. By that we will have good efficient system, and there will be financial loss will not be there. It will be an energy efficient system. Now, speed control of motors. Normally, we all know DC motor, we can change the speed because DC motors are employed where we require variable speed, and it can be easily changed by changing the excitation current or field current by controlling the armature or rotor voltage. But DC motors are really expensive than AC motors. In industries particularly, we would use squirrel cage induction motor, SCIM. Now induction motors are also suitable for variable speed drives. So in this, we'll see how speed control can be done in induction motors. Why induction motor is mainly employed in an industry is because it is rugged in construction, it requires lower maintenance, it does not have any rotating contacts, and it also provides high power to weight ratio, which is almost twice of the DC motors. Now, this induction motor speed can be changed by changing the supply frequency, and the control system which is employed to control the speed or change the speed is also depends upon number of factors. It has reduced investment requirement, load will be reliability, special control requirement. All these factors are considered when you employ any speed control devices in an induction motor. Now, normally one option is to go for multi-speed motors. That means you employ two separate windings in one motors. With these two separate windings, we'll have two speed. Now, by interchanging these two separate windings with each other, in total we can get four number of speeds. So we can have multi-speed motor by having two separate windings in which we can get total number of four number of speed. Multi-speed motor can be designed for application involving constant torque, variable torque, or for constant output power. Multi-speed motor are suitable for application where you require limited speed control. If the limited speed control is required, then multi-speed motors can be adopted, but they have lower efficiency than single speed motors. Next is adjustable frequency drives, also known as inverters. Now, inverters are available from kilowatt rating to fractional to 750 kilowatt motors. They are designed to operate at standard induction motors. This allows to be easily added in the existing system. Inverters are often sold separately because motors are already in place. So, with the inverters or adjustable frequency AC drives, where you can change the frequency through an inverters, you can change the speed of the motors. Direct current drives. So DC drives, direct current drives, in which you have a DC motor or a controller. Motor is constructed with a armature and field windings. Both these windings require DC excitation for motor operations. So by giving DC excitation, changing the DC excitations, your speed can be changed. Now field winding is excited with the constant level voltage from the controller. So with this, we can also through DC current drives, we can change the speed of the motor. Then on rotor AC motor drives, that is known as slip ring induction motors. We all know that induction motor are two types: squirrel cage induction motors. Another one is slip ring induction motor. By adding resistance in the circuit, we can change the R, due to the slip will change, due to the speed will change. So variable resistor has been placed in series with the windings. By changing the resistors, we can change the speed. Now here the torque performance of the motor can be also be controlled using these variable resistors. This is particularly utilized for different torque applications motors. Then adjustable variable frequency drive. This is also known as VSD or VFD, particularly variable frequency drives or variable speed drives. What is the concept of variable frequency drives? In which we change the frequency. We all know RPM is equal to F into 120 by F. That means revolution per minute, which is speed, is equal to frequency into 120 by number of poles. We all know pole is multiple of 2. So for 3000 RPM, what will be the number of poles? F is 50, 120 F, 6000, so pole will be 2. Now if pole is 4, it will be RPM will be how much? 6000 by 4, 1500 RPM. Now if I can change F keeping P constant, then what I can find out? I can find out different RPM. So by changing frequency, also you can change the RPM. That is the concept of variable frequency drive. Now, what is the basic configuration of variable frequency drives? Here is the three-phase supply. This is overcurrent protection. This is the rectifier. That means this AC supply is converted to a DC voltage or DC system. So AC system get converted to DC system through a rectifier. This DC bus is basically the interconnecting link between rectifier and inverter, in which we have filters, inductors, capacitor to smoothen the DC. So it filters the ripple associated with the conversion of AC to DC. When you convert AC to DC, there will be some ripples will be there. Some component of alternating component will be there. That will needs to filter with the use of L and C. That means inductor and capacitor, so that we can get a flat DC voltage. So once we get a flat DC voltage, we have to again inverter it. This is converter, this is inverter. That means with this inverter, again we get AC supply. So this DC supply gets changed with AC supply with the help of inverters. Inverter is nothing but we employ IGBT, insulated gate bipolar, insulated gate bipolar transistor, IGBT. So with the help of IGBT, with the help of this control circuit, I can change the firing angle. That means by opening this gate, I can transfer some amount of voltage to the other side. And if I require, I can switch off this gate. So by employing the control system, I can switch on or switch off the circuit, so that, and because it is a inverter, I'll get an AC voltage. But after I can change the voltage, I can change the frequency. But V by F has to remain constant because it is related to torque. It is related to performance of motor. So by changing the frequency, I can change the speed, but V also need to be changed so that V by F should be remain constant. So what are the component of variable frequency drives? One is rectifier, which convert AC to DC. Then intermediate circuit, that is the rectified DC supply is then conditioned. That means made ripple free by combination of inductor and capacitors. So we can have fixed voltage DC links. Then the inverters, what it does, it converts rectified conditioned DC back to AC supply. And you can have high frequency pulse width modulated signal of variable frequency and effective voltage. Semiconductor switches are used to create the output, and IGBTs are employed in inverters. Control unit is basically control the whole operations. Remember, variable frequency drives are typically 90 to 98% efficiency, with 2 to 8% losses being due to additional heat dissipation caused by high frequency electrical switching. Now, because of high frequency electrical switching, because of this rectifier, inverter, control circuit, and there will be losses. Losses is 2 to 8%. But it is also efficiency is 92 to 98%. So in case you don't require any speed control, we have to remove these variable frequency drives. But for the purpose of phase control, you can utilize these variable frequency drives, which will be energy efficient, which will give rise to energy efficiency. Now, other method of speed controls are eddy current drives, fluid coupling, soft starter. Soft starter means we need to start the motor, because starting current of motor is almost 6 times of the normal rated current. So during starting, it gives jerk. Because of that jerk, the mechanical transmission system gets affected. That leads to wear and premature failure of chain, belt, gear, mechanical switch. That the stress is developed, and this gives to rapid accelerations, because the starting current is very high. That is known as high inrush current, which is almost 600 times of the normal run current. That means 6 times of the normal run current. So you can use star delta starter for that, but better way of using or controlling this issue with the help of soft starter. So with the help of soft starter, what you can do, you see, this is a normal motor. If I go for direct online starter, that means I don't use any starter, I simply switch on the motor. The current will increase to 600 times, again it will fall. So you will get a mechanical stress here. Now let us go for star delta. Here torque is limited, starting torque is limited, but once we go for star to delta, then what will happen? In the running condition, I'll employ star. In the starting condition, I'll employ star. In running condition, I'll employ delta. But again, current will go up. This will be like this. But if I employ soft starter, it will have reduced starting torque. Current will accelerate slowly. The current will not go for star delta like 6 times. It will ramp up slowly and again it will reduce. So this is known as a soft starter control. So here mechanical stress is there, but here the mechanical stress is not there. It is a smooth ramping up or smooth accelerations. So this has advantage of soft starter, less mechanical strength, improved power factor, lower maximum demand, less mechanical maintenance. What we could do in soft starter, we use controlled release of power. That means all the power is released slowly with the electronic devices. This soft starter is nothing but an electronic devices which gives control in a control manner. He gives the power supply to the motors, which provides smooth stepless acceleration and decelerations, and the motor is performance becomes better. Now star leveling of energy efficient motors. Now we have now we don't promote any more I1. International efficiency is known as I. So I1 has been stopped from 2nd October 2018. Now, so based on the rated output, based on its efficiency, we need to design the or label the motor. So if the motor is 99% efficiency, it has to give higher star rating. So depending upon the motor rating, depending upon its efficiency, a IS 126 115 2011 has a specifications how to make star leveling of motors. So it is applicable for motor from 0.37 to 375 kilowatt, 2 pole, 4 pole, 6 poles, continuous duty, 3 phase squirrel cage induction motors are governed by this. So these are the motors 0.37 to 375 kilowatt, 3 phase, 2 pole, 4 pole, 6 pole, continuous rating can be labeled under star leveling program of induction motors. So that means based on its rated output, efficiency has been defined, and the performance criteria for energy leveling validity is also mentioned. Now, with these energy efficient motors, the industry can purchase high efficient motor I3 or I2 like this. So it will give better efficient motor. Will be taking a separate class for national motor replacement program, in which industry use ESL schemes of NMRP to change the motor or industrial standard motor with I3 motors. Now let us come to solve these examples. Now during an energy audit, following data are obtained in 3-phase induction motor. What is the rated value? 37 kilowatt. This means 37 is the rated output power. 415 volt is the rated voltage input to the motor. 66 current is the rated input current. 0.88 power factor is the rated power factor. Now a motor is run, operated. Now with the help of power analyzer, we measure the operating value. What is the input value? Voltage 410 volt. What is the input current? 49 ampere. Input power factor is 0.76 power factor. That means the operating value gets changed from the rated values. Now motor efficiency in this particular case does not change between 50 to 100% loading. That means this motor loading or motor efficiency remains same if the loading is 50 to 100%. So this is one data. Now plant operates for 7,000 hours in a year. In a year, what is the number of hours? 8760, 24 into 365. But this motor operates or the plant operates for 7,000 hours. Electric energy charge is 6 rupees per unit. Now what is it is proposed to replace the existing motor by 30 kilowatt energy efficient motor with 92% efficiency. We have to determine, that means this motor is replaced by a 30 kilowatt motor. Why? Because it is less efficient. Why it is less efficient? That we study when you solve the examples. But what is the efficiency of motor we employed? 92% efficiency. Now you have to find out what is the efficiency of the original motor, what is the loading of the existing motor, what is the we have to calculate the loading of with energy efficient motors. If same load is supplied with energy efficient motor, then what is the loading of energy efficient motor? Then if this existing motor is replaced with energy efficient motors, at the cost of the energy efficient motor is 75,000, and the salvage value means scrap value of the existing motor is 10,000 rupees. So what is the payback period? That means what is the financial saving? From the financial saving we can calculate payback period. So this is the problems. Now let us solve these problems. Now what is rated input power? Simple. Root 3 VI cos phi. All data are given. 415 volt, 66 ampere, 0.88 power factor. So rated input power is root 3 VI cos phi. So 41,746 kilowatt. That means this, for delivering the rated output, we need this much of power. Now what is the rated efficiency of the motor? Rated output power divided by rated input power. Rated output power is 37 kilowatt. So its efficiency, rated efficiency of the motor is 88.63%. That means its efficiency is not a good efficiency. Almost 12% losses is there. 88.63% efficiency. Now what is the actual input power drawn? We have the measurement for 10 volt, 49 ampere, 0.7 power factor. So actual input power will be 0.73 kilowatt into 41 amperes, 49. Why 49? Because 49 is the current, 0.76 is the power factor. So rated actual input power drawn will be 26.44 kilowatt, root 3 VI cos phi. Now what is the loading of motor? We know rated input power is this much, 41 kilowatt, but actually motor input drawn is 26.44 kilowatt. Here we don't divide with this output load because that we don't know. So loading of the motor will be 26.44, that is the input power actual drawn divided by rated input power. So loading is 63.3%. Now what is the condition is giving? The efficiency is remains same in between 50 to 100% loading. Now what is the loading here? 63%. So what is the efficiency of the motor? Is 88.63%. So we know that. Now shaft power or motor output will be how much? Now what is the rated motor power of the rated power of the motor? Output power 37 kilowatt. So shaft power or motor output will be, since the motor loading is 63.36%, so shaft output power also will reduce. So 37, that is the rated output power into motor loading 0.633, that is the shaft output power. That means this motor in actually is operating a lower load. That means the load is not actually 37 kilowatt. The load, the pump or the blower or the fan is, the load is 23.44 kilowatt. So there is no point to drive this load. We require a 37 kilowatt motor. What we can do? We can go for down size of the motor. Now what is the size you should choose? We can choose 25 kilowatt, or but in this case we have chosen 30 kilowatt. Now what is the actual power required? Is 23.44 kilowatt. And what is the rated power? 30 kilowatt. Now what is the percentage loading of the motor with new efficient motor? 23.4 by 30. So percentage loading of the energy efficient motor is 78%. See, from 63.3% loading, the loading has improved to 78%. Because of this higher loading, the efficiency will be there. Now we have all read the formula. Kilowatt saving will be how much? Actual output load, that is 23.4, 1 minus old efficiency. Old efficiency is 88.6%, minus 1 by new energy efficient, new motor efficiency. So actual output into 1 by old efficiency minus 1 by new efficiency. So this is the actual kilowatt saving will be there. That means this is the energy saving. Now if I multiply into hour, so this will be kWh. That means this much of energy I'll be saving per year with the help of new motor. Now what is the tariff here? 6 rupees. So kWh into 6 rupees per kWh. So I get this is the annual financial saving. So 40,000 of rupees I'll be saving, 40,750. Now what is the investment I have made? I have the cost of the motor is 75,000. But the salvage motor, that means if I sell the old motor, I'll get 10,000 rupees. So what will be my net investment? 75,000 minus 10,000. So it will be 65,000. But how much of saving I am doing? So total investment divided by financial saving per year, I'll get 1.59 years. That means since I am making a saving of 40,000 rupees, this 65,000 of saving investment I can recovered within a period of 1.59 years. That means in any banks with 5% interest, I'll get back my money after 20 years. But in this case, I'm getting my money in 1.59 years. So it is better to invest in energy efficiency products, energy efficiency technology, rather than keeping the funds in banks, because the payback period is very low here. With this, I conclude the motors, electric motors, chapter 2 of book 3. And now, but I'll request you all to read the books to understand the concept, to understand the more theory about motors. With this, I close. Good night.